There it goes. We're using the music bed. I feel like we're about to hop into Saturday Night Live.
Do a monologue.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to do my Will Ferrell dance. Welcome to the Dare to Journey pod with Ade
And Travis.
Let's go. Well, just want to say thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you are not following us or subscribing or sharing us, please, if you can, that will be so grateful of you because we are grateful here for all of the viewers that we do get and people who have watched the show or listened to the show. Any words, Travis?
Well, we said it before. We want this to be a community of people on their journey, people daring themselves, getting out of their comfort zones. So we can't do it without you guys. So we want to build a community of people that are building each other up, supporting each other, creating unity and maybe times of divisiveness.
Yes, unity. You know, I think you said two words, and I think they are two of the opposite: unity and division. And it's a definitely different world that we're living in at this moment, and I feel as though that with division, there has to be a side of unity, right? There has to be a side where, how does like unity look like, you know? And I think that the biggest challenges are, how do we bring people together? Or how do we have a place of unity, right? With everything that's going on, and having a safe space where two people can have discourse and not also hate each other, right? I think that, you know, some of our conversations is like, wow, what is going on, right? I thought we can be in a place where we can be able to work across the aisle and be able to have our views respected, right? But not disrespected. But it seems like we're very in a different world nowadays, and I'm trying to do my best to be able to understand and be more observant of it. And for me, that the biggest thing is how do we reach across the aisle? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think something we talk about a lot is empathy. And I feel like that's the thing that's really lacking in the world today. I think in a lot of ways we've been divided. And that's what, like you said, that's the opposite is unity and supporting each other. But it doesn't mean we always have to agree. It means we can disagree and still get along and not have to write people off. But that's where the empathy comes in of like, we talk about it all the time. We've had very different backgrounds, upbringings, things that have shaped who we are, shaped our opinions. And, you know, that's a good thing. That's when we think about diversity, it's diversity of thought too. It's not just the diversity of the way we look. It's diversity of thought. And I think diversity of thought is healthy. When you bring a group together and you have different opinions and perspectives, that usually results in better solutions to problems and things like that. So using that diversity as a positive instead of making it a negative thing.
Yeah, I think you said a good point. Like, I feel like we all experience same challenges, right? It could be from home. It could be challenged with the kids. It could be challenged with the bills. It could be challenged with the groceries. I think everyone is feeling it, right? And I think that once again, and I bring this up a lot, is that we may not hear each other's side of what's actually going on. And I feel that the parties have made themselves like so noisy in terms of which party or which side you sit on, rather than making it about the real day-to-day challenges that we are all feeling, and making it about real human in terms of health-wise, poverty, right? Where we can be able to share our thoughts on being able to solve common issues, right? And for me, I always see all of these things as like huge distractions, right? From the real challenges that we're facing. All of this noise is taking away from the real challenges of us actually coming together. Because I believe that we have the opportunity to be in a place for us to actually come together from either, like you said, different diversities, different opinions, different thoughts, to actually come into a solid ground or to a common ground. But I think the difference is we're being blindsided by a lot of the noise that may not really be the noise that we need to be focusing on. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. And I think you said a really good word about a minute ago, distractions, which is a great point, because we're all about this journey of positivity, of growth, of uplifting each other, and distractions of whatever it is, politics or whatever you want to get into, of the negativity on social media or wherever you have it. It's distractions. Not that we can't have healthy debates and arguments and things like that, or have causes that matter to us, but when we're just spending time in this negativity, or if it's not serving us or serving the people around us, then it becomes unhealthy. It puts us in a bad mood. Like, our journey is about being happy and healthy and getting out of our comfort zone, but being the best version of ourselves. And when we're kind of brought down in the mud of arguing and disagreeing and not having empathy for people, then we're getting farther away from those goals, I feel like.
Yes, I think you said it, empathy, right? And I think two words, actually, empathy and sympathy, because I feel as though sometimes, right, that there's a lot of us that can't share each other's pain. Mm-hmm. I think empathy would be like, not to put it this way, but it's like you experiencing, or if I say this the right way, like, you can't experience it being black, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. You can sympathize, right? But you can't necessarily empathize, because you don't necessarily have to go through that, mm-hmm. right? It's understanding those things, right? And I think in my culture, we empathize a lot. I feel like we have to empathize for everything, because I feel like we feel everything that everyone goes through, right? Not saying that our counterparts can't empathize. Yes, we can empathize when we got to put food on the table we can empathize when someone is, you name it. We can empathize if we both lost our jobs, right? By the grace of God, we don't, right? But we can empathize in those matters, but we can also sympathize and understand and say, hey, sometimes I can't actually be in your feet or know how it is to be Black, that just, or being African American, that just awareness by you understanding the difference in words makes it more, makes everyone more understandable of where they sit, or where they can be able to acknowledge each other. Because the key to this is, all right, you know, that although we're experiencing, we're all experiencing differences and challenges. However, a lot of it, majority of it, is the same. And I think that by us being able to work together, because our goal is to be able to, one, create this path where we're going to encounter obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to encounter obstacles. And on this on this journey, we know we're going to encounter obstacles. So therefore, we have to put values in place where we know that this obstacle has arisen. All right, now what should show up at this very moment? And unity, right? Being able to understand, to be able to sympathize, to being able to empathize. It gives a level of awareness that at this very moment we need more unity, right? Yeah. And I think for me, it's more so like, how do we get there, right? How do we work, and how do we get to a place where we're more united? How does that end? How does the end journey look like, right? Is it, are the leaders the one? Are we going to wait for the leaders to be able to unite? Or should we? Okay. Or are we waiting for our brothers and sisters that live in the same community to start taking action on what unity looks like, right? And I think it's the latter, right? I think we need to create a space for what we're going through, and then also bringing it together, mm-hmm. right? Because it gives us the opportunity to listen and be aware. And I think keyword for me is going to be awareness, right? And more awareness makes us more understanding, or it makes us, when we encounter challenges that we don't know, an awareness should be the awareness to be able to say, oh, I should be more thoughtful about how I go about this. So maybe it's not the leaders, right? Maybe it's I would love the leaders to take much more of a moral stand, moral ground on a lot of these. But I feel like a lot of the world is really focused on money. And maybe I don't get what's going on. Maybe I don't really understand what's going on at that level. However, but I could feel the pain, or I could feel the joys of the people that are near me day to day, and see how we could come together, right? But yeah, I mean, so I guess, what do you think in terms of, what does that, like, the big picture look like? Like, what would a big picture look like in terms of unity?
I feel like it's so far from reality right now. It's almost hard to imagine. It's a great question.
It's so far from reality. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think one thing that's been kind of coming up in my mind is one thing that we need to do better about is seeing people as individuals instead of lumping them into groups or stereotypes or putting them in boxes under certain labels. I think remembering that everyone's an individual, everyone has unique stories and beliefs and things like that. But if we just automatically put them in a certain group and we dismiss that group, then we're missing out on the more whole version of that individual. And we cut out a lot of people that could be really great people in our lives and things like that. So I think it's being more open to people as individuals, and that there are multiple parts to people. And if there's some we don't agree with, that's okay, as long as they don't affect our core values. I think you said a really important thing about values. If they don't align with our values, then yeah, it's probably not someone we want in our lives, like we talked about in a previous episode.
Yeah.
So making sure, if we all have the same values, and that's what I think is so crazy, is like so many of us probably have very similar values, if not same values.
It is, isn't
But
it?
we get divided over this stupid shit and things that again, distractions is the word, that we lose sight of those bigger picture values and the vision for our lives that we all want, or most of us want. And that's what's frustrating. So I think appreciating people as individuals, it takes more nuance. It takes more work to see people as independent versus like part of this group or whatever. So
It does.
which is why we don't do it. And we're not immune to this either. I know, we're not preaching as if we've got all the answers and we're doing everything right. We're going through this journey just the same as everybody, as you guys are. But yeah,
I think you said it though. Everybody as an individual, right? I think we cast this wide net on how people are as a group rather than as the individual they are showing up to be. And that can actually that could really mess things up, right? For us, because there could be one person that really is there to help you, and there could be a person that is not there to help you, right? And the fact that you may categorize this person as this way, the person that's trying to help you, you may not even see it, right? You may miss the big picture. But the fact that you are more comfortable with this category, you are more susceptible to their beliefs. And it may not even align with your values, right? And where we miss the opportunity of that unity is the opposite to create a foundation of awareness, once again, and not letting the distractions of certain categories that either may look like us, right? But are they really for us and the values that we actually want? I think someone said it best. Judge a person by not their act, not by what they say, but by the character of their being, right? I think that's what really it is. And I'm afraid to say this, like, I don't think as of right now in this world that we're living in, there are no leaders. I don't think there's like a leader that's like, oh my gosh, that's a man of character and morals, and he's standing up for what's right. And I don't think that exists. So maybe we need to create that community, right? Maybe not create the community, but inspire people for what good values look like.
Yeah, and I have a feeling it does exist, but those people don't get the airtime.
They're like the underground rappers or the underground fighters.
Yeah, they're not going to make the news. They're not going to be the ones that get the publicity because people want, I think maybe people seek out that divisiveness or the negativity sometimes because it
feels something.
Yeah, true. And they don't have the platform maybe, or they're just not resonating as much as the more negative leaders that we tend to hear, or the ones that try to divide us, which is interesting. Like, what does that say about humanity? And like, why do we give more space to the more negative influences?
That's what I want to understand. I don't know. Is it our upbringing? Because I'm trying to figure that out, because I know what's right from wrong. I know that there's a world that we live in that has history, and we also have a future, but we're also in the present. So we must understand the past, whatever the truth of the past is, in order to head to some destination. Because if we don't acknowledge what has happened or transpired in the past, all the pains, all the traumas, all the triggers that people have had, we're never going to be able to unite in this moment to move in the future. I don't know. I'm just making this up as I'm speaking because
That's good.
I'm understanding this dynamic of the world that we live in. Because for you and I to unite, we had probably common values. And we're like, those are really good values, right?
Yeah.
And maybe there's times where we don't see eye to eye, because there has been times where we don't see eye to eye, right? But you end up, it's either we end up finding that that path was wrong, then we come back and we acknowledge that path was wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't want to even acknowledge the truth of their decisions. So therefore, they have to live this lie that's not necessarily true, and then also make other people believe these lies about themselves that is not true.
Yeah.
Right? And imagine if you had the opportunity to influence people who respect you based off lies.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. So you're talking about living within your authenticity and being real and genuine. How, in your mind, how do you feel like you know when you're living an authentic life, when you're feeling true to yourself?
Man, that's a really good question. Wow. How do I know that I'm living a authentic, life? Is that, I mean, first, I connect with God. Spiritually, I feel this purpose to inspire others to be great. And I have values that let me know, like, for instance, treat others as you would treat yourself. I love myself, meaning I like to put good things in my body. I like to have positive messages going into my mind or my body. I like to receive and put the good things that make me live better. So therefore, if I treat myself this way, right, with kindness, right, I should be able to treat others the same way.
Yeah.
So in that, I want to be a light to others. Because growing up, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. Y'all know this. Grew up in Newark, New Jersey. It was death, drugs, Section 8. Parents' car got stolen almost every week. Robbed, gunpoint, knife point, prison, losing friends at an early age through either gangs. So that life transcended to a different life that I'm living now because of the opposite of what I wanted. I don't want those things.
Yeah.
I've experienced my culture kill each other for territory or for other things that are beyond the control. These socioeconomic impacts of not having a job, not being able to provide for your family because you've been incarcerated. I haven't been incarcerated. I've seen other people, my friends, been incarcerated, and they have a hard time being able to find a way out of that. And being that I've experienced all of this, I'm like, there has to be an opposite side of death. There has to be an opposite side of not being able to just survive. Like, I'm surviving just to survive in an environment that is not helping this mind be able to dream and reach for the stars. because I used to see those things on TV. Used to watch Disney, a whole bunch of Disney Channel. Maybe I watched a lot of Disney. Maybe thank you, Disney. Thank you, Disney. Because Disney gave me an opportunity to dream for a life that never existed. Right? I saw it and I felt it. If I could see it and I felt it, that has to exist. So if I can try to be, I'm not a Disney character, but if I can channel that life from the life that I'm currently living, and also be a light to the everybody around me. I think for instance, Martin Luther King. For him to actually go against all the odds and fight for peace, justice against hate, and also still love all people. Oh my gosh. It's the ultimate character of a man, despite the negative things that they probably have to say about him because of his background or the things that he did that was not in the news, or now they try to rip down his name because of the things that they end up finding out about him, rather than how did this man actually, as a man of character, impact the lives around him. I don't think there's a lot of people. I don't even know if I got it in me to do that. To fight for something bigger, that big. I am trying to fight for something that big.
Yeah, you do. You got to do. I was just thinking you both had pretty much every excuse to go down the negative path, to be more destructive than uplifting for other people, and you both chose a different path, a more enlightened path.
Yeah. So that's why, to answer your point, to know that like I'm doing some type of good, or how am I making sure I'm living according to, how am I showing that let me make sure I get the question right. How am I doing, or how am I showing, what was the question? I almost got it.
How do you know when you're living an authentic life?
Oh, authentic life. How do I know? I was looking for that word. How do I know I'm living an authentic life? Is when I'm able to show those characteristics in the community that I impact. That's how I see it. Yeah.
Because you not only want that, what you went through in your childhood for yourself, that's what catapulted you to a better life. But now, as an adult, you want to help other people avoid that life as well, and give them, it seems, you wanna give them a positive experience versus.
But here's the thing. The thing is, do you believe in America? Do you think that let's say counterparts, do you think they experience a lot of those traumatic upbringings growing up? Right? Like, have you had to experience similar challenges?
No, my upbringing was very, trying to think of the word, pretty, I would say pain-free. I had loving parents. I know you had loving parents as well, but parents that are still married today, they supported me in all my endeavors. I had a good community. I went to a small school with good friends, and I felt like I had all the support that I needed. So I really had a very fortunate upbringing.
So with that, how is it that we live in a world that And what is your take? How is it that we live in a world that can't see the other side, or just doesn't see the human in people, right? Because I feel like, for instance, if you and I had the same blood, right, and you were to fall and your blood just leaked out, you would need my blood to be able to. But how is it that we can't see the humanity in each other rather than we see race?
It's a great question.
I try to figure these questions out in my head because I feel like as humans, it just comes to a point that we have the same needs. We have the same challenges.
And in general, I think we all live in our own worlds, right? We think about everything from our lens and every other person from our lens, and we tend to overthink or over exaggerate how much other people are thinking about us, how much we mean to other people. We tend to just view everything in terms of how it affects us. So I think that's the first thing that we have to consider is, there's a whole world outside of us. The world happened before us. The world's going to continue on after us. So just thinking about people as their own entities and not just how they affect us. I think we've mentioned it before. Like, I feel like most people only know maybe 1% of their lives. We get access to maybe 1% of their lives. They have a whole another world outside of what we know that we'll maybe never know, depending on how close you are. And I think a lot of it is just. Actually, I don't know. It's a good question. Like what? Yeah.
This is the type of stuff I feel like if we can figure out and we can unite people on commonalities, I think then we could be able to we could come together on every issue.
Yeah. I do think in modern times, obviously social media and entertainment news channels have exasperated. I'm sure empathy has always been probably struggle for humankind for whatever reason, but I feel like in modern times, it's only made it worse by social media. Just the algorithms continually feeding things that only reinforce our beliefs, don't give us, instead of hearing different perspectives or things that we haven't thought about or things that we're just not exposed to anymore. And so we just kind of get more ingrained in the way we think and lose sight of other perspectives. And, whether you watch your respective news channel, whether it's, MSNBC or Fox News or CNN, whatever, you're getting fed things that just kind of, reinforce your already held beliefs instead of getting different perspectives. And I think that's a big problem today is that we just get more and more of the same stuff that just ingrains our thoughts even more instead of like, there's different thoughts, there are different ways to think about things, different perspectives, and we need to embrace those too and keep an open mind. That's the other thing is sometimes the times we do get that information, we just automatically dismiss it or we make it combative to where it's like, oh, this isn't in line with me. So instead of actually listening and be like,
being objective.
Yeah, being objective or like, yeah, am I wrong? Or have I been thinking about this a different way? Or if I was raised like in your, the way you were raised and everything you went through, like, how would I think about things differently,
Yes. So you're saying to be able to have a lens of a wide array of perspective, right?
Yeah. And you said objectivity, which is really important. It's just, I feel like it's really hard to find these days. And that's one of my problems with, I feel I'm very ill-informed as far as world and matters in our country because I just lost trust in so much news sources that I don't even know where to go to for objective information.
Yeah, I think you hit a very good point. I think a lot of social media has really challenged us to find out social media, news has made it hard to find what's real, right? However, I think how we show up, though, as people. I think I must have to ask myself. I don't think like when I see someone, I don't say, "Hey, that's a person that's a Biden supporter or a Trump supporter." I don't. I don't think. I don't. I can never think in those terms. If I see you crying and you're going through something, I'm going to want to find a way to show compassion, show understanding. And I think we've also numb ourselves. I think this is it too. Social media has numbed us to so much pain. People dying on TV, 36 people dying, 67 people dying, 70 people dying, 70 people getting shot. That, I think for every time I think about those instances, I want to cry. I want to cry for those people. I want to cry for those families, because to lose someone is so hard, that may have been close to you or close family, friend, whatever way. You felt their spirit and now they're gone. I think it has like, and now I think we live in a world where that just happens.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The desensitization because of social media, probably specifically, of tragedy and pain. And like, how often do you see people joking about tragedies, or when people die and making jokes about it immediately, even like, I mean, it doesn't matter the time frame. Like, people joke about 9/11 all the time and things like that. And it's just that it's so insensitive.
Yes.
And you see it all the time. It's so commonplace that people, like, I don't joke about those things online, but we still get desensitized to it because we see it all the time.
Yeah.
Just because we don't do it doesn't mean we're not getting desensitized.
Yes.
So that's a great point.
Yes. No. And also, my heart and my condolences go out to the families that lost someone in the helicopter crash and the plane crash with American Airlines, and I think it was like a government helicopter. My heart goes out to all of those families, because one moment they were here, the next moment they're gone. And to lose someone, I lost my dad. I know how that feels. It's grieving. And a lot of people, I think that's another reason we need to create a place of unity, because unity will open the doors to joy and love, and it will create a space where people can start seeing eye to eye. I think this is my belief, and you can believe it or not, but I think the world that we live in, money has blinded us from us seeing what the real problem is. And even now, I think about it, my mom is getting older, and she worked all her life, and there are going to be more older people who are going to need, elderly people who are going to need our help if there's not a system in place to support them. Because let's say we don't have the necessary wealth or the necessary monetary means to be able to take care of our citizens, or I forgot what they're called, elderly citizens. I think about those things. But if we're not uniting, we're going to be having more division. Mm-hmm. And I feel as though that, we're not the United States. We're not reaching for United States. And I don't think, you know, and my goal is I want a more united state. All right. I can't hate anyone. Why? You know? And that for me has been like, how do we do that? And I think we've come to something, right? Like we have to have a certain level of awareness, empathy. I feel like under United, there has to be empathy, sympathy, awareness. What else is missing? What else do we need under those things?
Listening.
Objectivity,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because we should be able to respect each other's opinions, but that doesn't mean you have to be this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Respect is a good word.
Respect.
Respectfully disagree, right? Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah.
And I don't think people want to do the work. I mean, some people don't want to do the work to do those things. And I think for majority of us, I think some of us need to seek therapy to start acknowledging that these things are missing from our lives in order for us to be united, right?
Yeah. These are all themes that we're going to continue to talk about on this journey because they're really important. But to wrap us up today, what's a good action item for us? What do you feel like we should all focus on, including us, to grow in our empathy and respect and all those themes? What's a good takeaway, you think?
I guess a good takeaway would be action item is
About awareness. I feel like that was a good place to start.
I think awareness, being aware of the people that you interact with daily and being curious.
Mm-hmm. Curious instead of judgmental, basically.
Instead of judgmental.
Yeah.
I think those is the start to being more united. Being aware of the values that you live by, and do they actually align with the people that you have or that you let inspire your life? Right? Being aware of those things will make you, all right, I need to be thoughtful. I have a bubble, and in this bubble, I want to be aware of who's talking about unity. Mm-hmm. If they're talking about division, and I'm always attracted, or this is me speaking from another person's angle. If they're speaking division, why am I so attracted to this division? What is this division? What has this division caused other families? What about if I was in these other families' shoes? What is the basis of the American dream that we live? You know, understanding that starts opening the doors to past how this America was built. Then once we've acknowledged and are aware of these challenges and why people have all of these frustrations, then we can say, all right, this is where we want to go. We want to be a more united country. Are the things that we're doing in this present right now, is that leading to a more united states? And if it's not, therefore, you have to start questioning the bubble that you live in. Because your bubble would have to pop at that point. And then you have to understand a whole new bubble. Anyways.
Yeah. Well said.
Unity, guys.
Yeah.
Unity. On that note, please, thank you for listening to us today. And follow us, share us. We'll be getting more stuff to you in the next few weeks or so. But thank you all for coming in and listening today. And Travis, any final words?
We're at Dare to Journey Pod on Instagram, YouTube.
Yes. Dare to Journey Pod, YouTube, Instagram, what other social outlet? And podcast too, right? So
Yeah, the podcast.
Dare to Journey. So take action. We dare you to be more aware. We dare you to be more aware. Cheers.
Thank you.